Did you know that nearly 1 in 3 immigrants to Australia regret their decision within the first few years? Yes, you heard that right. Australia, often seen as the land of opportunity, has left many newcomers feeling disappointed, isolated, and even overwhelmed. But what if everything you've been told about starting a new life down under isn't the full story? Imagine arriving in a new country, full of hope for a brighter future, only to face unexpected financial struggles, culture shock, and unforeseen challenges that make you wonder if you've made a huge mistake. Is the Australian dream really all it's cracked up to be? For some, it's nothing more than an illusion, a fantasy that doesn't hold up when reality hits hard. In this video, we're diving deep into the 10 shocking reasons why some immigrants regret moving to Australia. And trust us, you'll want to hear this. From skyrocketing living costs to a job market that feels more closed than open, the truth behind moving to Australia might just surprise you. So, if you're thinking about making the move or are simply curious about what life is really like for immigrants in Australia, stay with us till the end. You won't want to miss the full story. Number 1. High cost of living. Australia is renowned for its stunning landscapes, vibrant cities, and high quality of life. But one major shock many immigrants face is the staggering cost of living. Imagine dreaming of a better life, only to find out that your paycheck doesn't stretch as far as you expected. In cities like Sydney and Melbourne, living expenses are among the highest in the world, and newcomers quickly realize that everything comes at a price. Let's start with housing. Whether you're renting or buying, the prices are astronomical. In Sydney, for example, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in the city centre can easily exceed 2,000 Australian dollars per month. And if you're thinking of buying a home, well, brace yourself. The average house price in Sydney has skyrocketed to over 1 million Australian dollars, making it nearly impossible for newcomers to get a foot in the door. But it's not just housing. The cost of groceries in Australia is another major issue. Basic items like fresh produce, dairy, and meat are often more expensive than what immigrants are used to in their home countries. Want to buy a loaf of bread or a pack of milk? Expect to pay more than you would in many other parts of the world. The high cost of food, combined with transportation expenses and utility bills, adds up quickly, leaving many feeling financially squeezed. If you're coming from a country with a lower cost of living, these financial realities can be shocking and disheartening. It's not uncommon for immigrants to feel as though their savings are rapidly disappearing, leaving them wondering if their dream of a better life was worth the financial burden. For those thinking of making the move, it's crucial to come prepared with a solid financial plan. Budgeting and understanding these high costs will be key to thriving in Australia without breaking the bank. Number 2. The distance from family and friends. When you first move to Australia, the excitement of a new beginning can cloud the reality of how far you really are from home. For many immigrants, the distance between Australia and their home country isn't just a matter of geography, it's an emotional weight that becomes harder to carry with time. Australia is literally on the other side of the world for most countries, making it a long and expensive journey to visit family and friends. A flight home can cost thousands of dollars, and the 24-hour travel time means that a simple visit isn't feasible for a quick getaway. For many, this results in feelings of isolation and homesickness that can linger long after the initial excitement fades. For some, the lack of familiar faces nearby is the hardest part of settling into Australia. While the country is filled with welcoming people, nothing quite compares to the comfort of being surrounded by family and old friends. The cultural familiarity, shared history, and deep-rooted connections you once took for granted can feel like they're a lifetime away. Though technology can help bridge the gap, video calls, social media, and messaging can never truly replace the warmth of physical presence. For many immigrants, this emotional distance often outweighs the material benefits they hope to gain by living in Australia. If you're considering making the move, be prepared for how distant your support system might feel, and think carefully about how you'll maintain those vital connections from afar. Number 3. Limited job opportunities for immigrants. One of the biggest reasons immigrants flock to Australia is the promise of better job opportunities and career advancement. But what happens when reality doesn't match the dream? For many newcomers, finding work in Australia can be much harder than expected. While the country boasts a relatively low unemployment rate, many immigrants quickly discover that securing a good job isn't as easy as they hoped. One major hurdle is qualification recognition. If you've earned a degree or have professional experience from your home country, you might find that your credentials aren't fully recognized in Australia. This often means that highly skilled professionals are forced to accept lower paying jobs or roles far below their level of expertise just to make ends meet. Another challenge is the Australian work culture. Even if you land a job, you may find that the workplace culture can be quite different from what you're used to. The style of communication, expectations, and even office hierarchy can feel like a steep learning curve. Additionally, the cost of living, as discussed earlier, often means that immigrants need to earn a higher income to maintain a decent standard of living. With salaries often not matching expectations, many immigrants end up struggling to make ends meet or feel that they're not living up to their potential. If you're planning to move to Australia, it's essential to research the job market thoroughly before making the leap. Be prepared for a lengthy job search and possibly having to accept a position that's not quite what you envisioned. Number 4, culture shock and integration difficulties. Moving to Australia often means diving into an entirely new culture, and for many immigrants, the transition isn't as smooth as expected. The reality of culture shock can hit hard, especially when faced with the task of integrating into a society that may seem vastly different from what you're used to. Australia is known for its laid-back and friendly atmosphere, but newcomers might find it challenging to adapt to the local social norms, communication style, and even daily routines. For example, while Australians are generally easygoing, their sense of humor and casual way of speaking can sometimes be difficult to understand, especially if you're not familiar with Australian slang. Phrases like, "no worries," "she'll be right," or "g'day" can leave you scratching your head, feeling like you're out of place. Another major challenge is making new friends. While Australians are known for being friendly, forging deep, lasting friendships can take time. The local social scene can feel cliquey, and with the fast-paced nature of city life, it's not always easy to meet people outside of work or school. Many immigrants find themselves lonely or struggling to form meaningful relationships in the beginning, especially when they feel like outsiders in a new place. For those planning to move to Australia, it's important to be prepared for a period of adjustment. Seeking out cultural integration programs, joining expat communities, and giving yourself time to adapt can help ease the transition and make Australia feel more like home. Number 5, overwhelming bureaucracy and red tape. One of the most frustrating aspects of moving to Australia is dealing with the bureaucratic maze that immigrants must navigate. From the moment you arrive, you'll encounter a world of paperwork, visa requirements, and government processes that can be time-consuming and overwhelming. The Australian immigration system, while structured, often feels like an endless labyrinth. The process of obtaining a visa, renewing it, or even applying for permanent residency can be incredibly complicated. Many immigrants find themselves bogged down by the amount of documentation needed, from medical exams and police checks to proving financial stability and employment history. The sheer volume of paperwork is enough to make even the most organized person frustrated. Even once you're settled in, the red tape doesn't disappear. Whether it's applying for healthcare coverage, registering your car, or setting up utility services, immigrants often find themselves caught up in a system that feels slow, impersonal, and frustrating. For those considering moving to Australia, it's essential to come prepared for the bureaucratic challenges that await. Research the visa processes thoroughly, seek help from migration agents if needed, and be patient with the system. Navigating this maze is not easy, but understanding it in advance will save you time and headaches down the line. We've put a lot of effort into creating this video to help you make informed decisions about moving to Australia. If you found it helpful, drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And remember, subscribing to our channel is just one click, and it keeps you updated on more valuable insights like this. Don't miss out. Number 6, unrealistic expectations about the Australian dream. When many people think about moving to Australia, they envision a perfect life filled with sunshine, high salaries, and endless opportunities. After all, Australia is often painted as the land of the Australian dream, a place where you can start fresh, achieve success, and live the good life. But for some immigrants, this vision doesn't quite match the reality they face once they arrive. Unrealistic expectations can set the stage for disappointment. The truth is, while Australia offers incredible beauty, a high standard of living, and a strong economy, it also comes with its own set of challenges that aren't always immediately apparent. The cost of living is high, the job market can be tough to break into, and adjusting to life in a new country is a lot harder than most people anticipate. The Australian dream doesn't always come easily. While the country does provide numerous opportunities, it's important for immigrants to realize that achieving success in Australia takes time, hard work, and adjustment. It's not a magical, instant transformation. For those considering making the move, it's crucial to set realistic expectations. Understand that the first few years will be challenging, and it's okay to not have everything figured out immediately. Success takes time, and having patience and perseverance will be your greatest allies on this journey. Number 7. Limited public transport in regional areas. While Australia's major cities like Sydney and Melbourne offer extensive and efficient public transportation systems, many immigrants quickly realize that regional areas tell a very different story. For those who choose to live outside the bustling urban centers, access to public transport can be severely limited. This often catches people off guard, especially for those used to well-connected transit systems in their home countries. In cities like Sydney, you'll find trains, buses, and ferries that make getting around relatively easy. But venture out into regional areas or smaller towns, and suddenly public transport options become sparse. The train lines may stop, the buses may run infrequently, and the network itself may be not as integrated, leaving many immigrants reliant on private transportation. This can be particularly difficult for those who don't drive, or have just moved to Australia and haven't yet earned a local driver's license. For newcomers in regional Australia, it's essential to be prepared for the reliance on private transportation. If you're thinking of living in a regional area, you'll likely need a car to get by. Alternatively, consider living in the city if public transport is a priority for you. Understanding this before you move can save you a lot of frustration and unnecessary costs. Number 8. Poor healthcare experience for immigrants. Australia is known for its universal healthcare system, Medicare, which offers residents access to free or subsidized healthcare services. However, despite this system being a significant draw for many immigrants, the actual healthcare experience can sometimes be underwhelming, particularly for those who are new to the country. One of the first challenges many immigrants face is the complexity of the Australian healthcare system. While Medicare provides access to essential services, it doesn't always cover everything. Immigrants may find themselves confused about which services are covered, how to register for Medicare, or how to navigate the system in general. Moreover, new arrivals might not realize that Medicare is only available to those who meet certain residency requirements, meaning some immigrants may have to rely on private health insurance in the early stages of their stay, adding additional costs to their budget. In addition, the quality of healthcare can vary depending on where you live. While major cities like Sydney and Melbourne generally offer high-quality healthcare, those living in regional or rural areas may face challenges with finding well-equipped medical facilities or access to specialists. This lack of healthcare infrastructure can lead to frustration, especially in emergency situations. If you're planning on moving to Australia, it's important to understand the healthcare system and prepare for potential hurdles. Make sure to register for Medicare as soon as you're eligible and consider supplementary private health insurance if needed. Being proactive can help ensure a smoother healthcare experience during your time in Australia. Number 9. Difficulties with the education system. Australia is home to some of the world's best universities and educational institutions. But for many immigrants, adjusting to the Australian education system can be a significant challenge. Whether you're a parent trying to understand how the school system works, or a student navigating a new academic environment, the differences in curriculum, teaching methods, and even social norms can make for a steep learning curve. For parents, one of the first shocks they might face is the differences in the school system. The structure and grading system in Australia may be vastly different from what you're used to in your home country. For example, in some countries, students may follow a more rigid curriculum, but in Australia, the education system is more flexible, with a greater emphasis on critical thinking, participation, and independent learning. This might make it harder for children to adapt, especially if they're used to a more traditional education system. Additionally, some immigrants may find the cost of education to be higher than expected. International students in particular face steep tuition fees, and parents may be surprised to discover that extracurricular activities or school supplies are often not included in the fees, further driving up costs. For those considering moving to Australia, it's important to thoroughly research the education system and understand what will be expected of both you and your children. Preparing in advance can help smooth the transition and make the adjustment easier for everyone involved. Number 10. Climate and environmental challenges. Australia is famous for its beautiful weather and stunning landscapes, but the country's climate can be more extreme and unpredictable than many immigrants expect. The reality of Australia's harsh environmental conditions can be a tough adjustment, especially for those unfamiliar with the challenges that come with living in a land of bushfires, droughts, and extreme temperatures. For starters, Australia's hot summers can be intense, with temperatures regularly soaring above 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, in many regions, particularly in the outback and inland areas. The scorching heat can make outdoor activities unbearable for those unaccustomed to it, and for newcomers used to milder climates, the heatwave conditions can be overwhelming. Even in major cities like Sydney and Melbourne, summer heat can strain infrastructure, leading to issues like power outages and poor air quality. Another issue is the droughts that frequently affect vast parts of Australia. Water scarcity can become a serious concern, especially in regional areas, where water restrictions are imposed during particularly dry periods. Immigrants who come from countries with more consistent rainfall may find it difficult to adapt to the challenges posed by water conservation measures. For those planning to move to Australia, it's essential to be prepared for these climate-related challenges. Understanding the risks, learning how to stay safe during extreme weather, and planning accordingly can help mitigate the impact of Australia's climate on your daily life. Moving to Australia can seem like a dream come true, but as we've seen, the reality is often filled with challenges that many immigrants aren't prepared for, from the high cost of living to the emotional toll of being far from loved ones, and even the difficulties of adapting to the culture and environment. It's clear that the journey to life in Australia isn't always as simple as it might seem, but knowledge is power. The more you understand about what to expect, the better prepared you'll be for the road ahead. We've put a lot of heart and effort into creating this video, bringing you real insights that are hard to find elsewhere. It wasn't easy, but it's our passion to help you make informed decisions about one of the biggest moves of your life. If you found this video valuable, please take a moment to subscribe. It's just one click, but it means the world to us. Every subscription helps us continue producing these insightful and hard-to-make videos. Your support keeps us motivated to dive deep into the real issues immigrants face. Please hit that subscribe button. We're here to make your journey easier, and with your support, we can continue delivering the kind of content that truly makes a difference. Thank you for being here with us. Together, we're building a community of informed, prepared, and empowered individuals. Don't miss out on more essential content like this. Subscribe now